Hello, this is Mike Swanson of Wall Street Window, and it's time for some crypto straight talk. We've seen a big tumble in the price of Bitcoin over the past couple of weeks. And even though the stock market had a really nice bounce, Bitcoin bounced barely and then dumped again as this week began. But what I want to share with you in this video is a critical indicator that foretold this Bitcoin drop. Anyone paying attention to it would have known what was to come. And that indicator also suggests what the next 6 months is going to be for Bitcoin. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about right here. So this is a chart of the price of Bitcoin, obviously. And you can see how it ran up to about 126,000 in October. It peaked out, and then it went into a very vicious decline, falling over 30% until it put on a very weak bounce and has pulled back again. That drop all took people by surprise, but there's an indicator on this chart that shows you that this was a huge risk to occur. And it was clear when that new high was made in October, even. So this is it. What you're looking at here on the chart is the price of Bitcoin divided by the S&P 500. And this is perhaps my very favorite indicator to use to analyze a ETF, a stock, a sector, an asset class, or something like Bitcoin. Because what it does is it shows you the relative strength of what you're looking at against the stock market. Is what you're looking at, in this case, Bitcoin, outperforming the stock market or underperforming the stock market? And that's critical for how something is going to act going forward. When this indicator goes up, it means it's outperforming the stock market, the S&P 500. When the indicator is going sideways, it means it's not outperforming the stock market. When the indicator is going down, it means it's lagging the stock market, but it's sharply going down, as you see now is happening, and where I've circled. It's really underperforming the stock market. It's almost a disaster. So what happened is that from May to August, even though Bitcoin was going up, it was underperforming the performance of the S&P 500. In fact, just about everything else was actually going up quicker than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin was slowly going up. And then Bitcoin, when it made a new high, that indicator did not make a new high, which was a huge, huge, huge danger sign. You see, when something lags the performance of the S&P 500, when the stock market then pulls back, those things tend to pull back even more. And look, pullbacks, small pullbacks happen all the time in the stock market, especially after it has a big run up. And when these pullbacks happen, the market typically pulls back at least 10% twice a year, sometimes 20%, and sometimes you get a bear market year. That's not what we had. We didn't have a bear market year. We didn't even have a 20% pullback in the stock market, but the pullback that did happen in the stock market caused Bitcoin to just collapse 30%. That's awful, especially if you put, a Bitcoin ETF in your account, thinking that's going to help you make more money. But this indicator foretold the risk. When Bitcoin made a new high, indicator did not. That's a negative divergence. And then the stock market made a new high. The S&P 500 made a new high at the end of October. And what was Bitcoin doing? Falling. And that was an even bigger risk factor, saying that, look, Bitcoin is now falling when the S&P 500 just made a new high, when the NASDAQ just made a new high, when the NASDAQ just made a new high, when gold just made a new high. If everything pulls back, Bitcoin could be in big trouble. And that's exactly what happened. And now what is going on is Bitcoin is still lagging. Look, when the stock market does pull back, typically the things that hold up, the things that show powerful relative strength against the stock market, then explode higher. They make new highs. they go up and outperform for the next 6 months. But things that lag on the final, when the stock market peaks, then fall like Bitcoin's doing, they typically continue to lag going forward for at least 6 months. So all this is to suggest that yes, Bitcoin's going to have bounces and it will, hopefully rally again. It will at some point, but it's likely to continue the financial markets going forward because of how it's been lagging the markets since May. This underperformance of Bitcoin versus stocks is not new. It's been going on since May. And fund managers don't want to put their money, institutional investors don't want to put their money in things underperforming the stock market. If they do that, they're going to lose their jobs. They got to be in what's outperforming. What's one of the things outperforming the markets now? Well, silver. Silver just made a new high a couple of days ago, but look at what silver's been doing with that relative strength against S&P 500 ratio. While Bitcoin's ratio was going down in October, the ratio was making a new high. And then when the stock market pulled back, that ratio did fine in November and actually trended up. That foretold the thing that money could go into silver when the stock market rallied, and that's exactly what took place. So money is shifting out of things underperforming the stock market, such as Bitcoin, into things outperforming, such as silver, and that is likely to continue into New Year's. It doesn't mean Bitcoin can't go up, it can't bounce. It will, but this type of analysis is key to me to analyze any opportunity in the markets. I do not think in the terms of predictions, and that's the way the Bitcoin gurus talk. They act as carnival barkers. When Bitcoin was 50,000, they'll tell you it goes to 100. Then when it goes to 100, they're going to tell you it goes to 1,000,000. But that's not what's it based on? Just hope. Basically just increasing predictions. That's not chasing predictions isn't a strategy. Watching trends, understanding how markets operate, that's how real money is made. And that's the type of analysis I try to bring to you in my YouTube videos. In my newsletter, you can find for free at WallStreetWindow.com. Just go there and subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side.